So what you have to learn how to do first is create what's called a pinch pot. A pinch pot is basically just a small pot made that you pinch with your hand. It's called the pinch process. So it's pretty simple, but it is something that takes a little bit of time because you want your walls nice and even. And then I'm going to show you how you can maybe make some different animals out of this. So I'm going to set that one aside. You're going to start out with a small piece of clay, not very big. Okay, notice how it just fits in my hand here, not real large, about the size, not a little bit bigger than a golf ball, but not as big as a tennis ball. All right. You want to kind of get it into a ball, a nice smooth round ball. So you're just going to kind of roll it onto the board and try to get all those wrinkles out now. That way you won't have the wrinkles in there later. Right, and it's not going to be exactly circular, so maybe you want to kind of hit it with the side of your hand just a little bit. Right, and you want to get it as round as you can, so that's pretty good. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take your thumb and you're just going to push down in the middle. You don't want to go all the way through. You want to leave about the thickness that you want for the bottom. Remember, you want it about the size of one of your fingers, maybe about the size of your pinky as far as thickness, but not real thick. Remember, we don't want to go any larger than the thumb. And then you're just going to start pushing out between your thumb and your fingers. Notice right here I'm pinching these together and then I'm going around just a little bit at a time. Now this is kind of the difficult time, and you may not get it the first time. If it doesn't, then you just wad the clay back up and try it again. But notice I'm just turning it and I'm pushing it a little bit at a time. Don't try to push it all at once, because then it doesn't stay kind of in the round format. And then you want to kind of feel like if it feels too thick down here, maybe you want to pull and push some of that clay out just a little bit more, which I'm going to do. So I'm kind of pushing my thumb with my fingers together to push that clay outwards until I get my walls even. Then I'm going to start coming up. So I'm moving more up the clay, again to even the thickness out of the clay. And what you're eventually going to do is you're going to do two of these, because we're going to slip and score these two pieces together. Because if you remember, we don't want too thick of a piece. So if we were to make a body of an animal out of this, we wouldn't want it solid, because then it would probably explode in the kiln. So we have to hollow it out. So this is really the best way to hollow it out. All right, so it's nice and even. So I've got my two pieces. Now notice they're about different sizes here, and I really want one to match the other. So I'm going to cut this one size down a little. So I'm going to trim this just a little bit, because this one's a little bit bigger. So I'm just guesstimating here. And then I'm going to go back in. I just cut a little bit off at a time to make sure. So we'll trim this one up. Alright, now that one's a little bit, I can move this back in so they're about the same size. So when you do these two, you want them close to the same size of the opening. I'm going to pull this in a little bit more. Now we're going to put these two together, and to put them together, what do we need to do? Whenever you add two pieces of clay together, if you recall, you've got to score and slip. I'm going to score my edge of both pinch pots. So then I'll score this one. Alright, and then I'm going to take the slip and put that on, kind of thick. I'm going to go ahead and put it on both of them to make sure that I've got it nice and thick on here. And then you just add those two pieces together and kind of smush it in. Now it's kind of tough because it's hollow. You don't want to push too hard that it collapses in, but yet you want to kind of pull these together so it becomes one piece. And if you recall, once we've got this piece together, we've got to create an air hole in here. It's very important, and I'll remind you on the next video. But if you do not create an air hole for that air to escape, then it's more than likely that this piece will explode. Okay, so you kind of take your fingers. You got to be careful you don't push down too hard. Depends on how moist your clay is. All right, and kind of pull this seam in together. And kind of put the one clay over the top of the other. You can even maybe do a small coil around this. So now I have just like a large ball made out of two pinch pots, and then I will show you how maybe you can add some different pieces of an animal to add it onto an animal. Alright, this is part 2. I'm going to put this video into fast forward, so you may need to pause or rewind if I go too fast. So before you get started, you can choose any animal or any imaginary creature, but you may want to sketch out your idea before you even start. Now, in this video, I'm going to show you a variety of different options. So just be creative and choose whichever one works for you, but try a lot of different things. Here we go. Alright, we're going to start off this video with maybe making some feet. You're going to form the feet whatever way you want to form them with the clay, and then remember you always score and slip. Make sure you score both sides, slip thickly, and then kind of push it one into the other, and you may even want to kind of pull the clay into the body. Maybe you want to do some wings, so we're going to roll out a small piece. Don't have to use the dowel rods for this, just roll it out, cut it out, and then score and slip and put it on. Alright, after we've done that, maybe we want to add some eyes. Again, no matter whatever you put on here, you need to score and slip it. Just make sure that it's not so thick, remember thicker than your thumb, because the thick things tend to explode in the kiln. So maybe you want to add eyes, maybe you want to add nose, kind of form things around, try to get them the way you want them. Maybe you want to add some texture to it. You can add texture just like you would draw, like you could draw some fur lines. Or maybe you want to use the impress technique, and maybe you want to get something like scales, like this looks like scales if you impress the end of that one tool. Maybe you want to add a tail. Just be careful when you add a tail that it doesn't break off. Remember, anything that sticks off will break easily, so you want to be aware of that. Now, because this is an enclosed piece, we have to put a hole in here, so you can put a hole in the bottom so nobody will see it. Or maybe another idea is just to create a hole as part of your creature, so maybe we can make a mouth. And then you wouldn't need that hole in the bottom, so you can add a mouth and then maybe add some different teeth onto it. Just remember that anything you add to it can't be really thick. If it is, hollow it out like this piece and then score and slip and make sure that it has air escaping through it.